Hey folks, I know you haven't talked to me in a really long time, but this is EpilepsyBlogger post-surgery. Let me get down here so you can see my scar. Hopefully you saw that well. I just wanted to say hi to everybody because I know a lot of the YouTube fans have been sending me little messages and emails and whatnot asking how I'm doing. Because I know everybody doesn't read the blog or they don't follow on Facebook, so they don't know everything about how I'm doing. But I am home. I don't know if you can tell, but I've lost quite a bit of weight since I've been in the hospital. Not a bad thing, because I haven't been able to lose it probably for the longest time. Doing very well. No seizures at all since surgery. I used to have, technically 2 surgeries, by the way. But I used to have 100 a day for, I mean, it was always a possibility that I would have 100. My minimum was usually like about 40, 60, around there. I can't remember the number. But it was like 40, 60, one or the other. But most days, the last few months of having seizures, it was 100. And they ended up moving the surgery a little bit. Sorry, I'm holding the camera up so it doesn't fall. But it moved up to about 100 a day, every day, towards the, I'm thinking like 5 months before. Definitely was over 100, about 3 months. I wrote about some of it. I didn't mention it in all the posts because I was trying not to be like too negative. Because they were ones I could deal with in a way. But they started getting very intense. Like, they were very intense seizures towards that last month or two. That's when it started getting really hard. That's why I had made that video letting everybody know I was really sorry. I probably wouldn't be making videos again. I was kind of stressed. Surgery was difficult, but I got through. I had wonderful team of doctors, and I had my family here. Thousands and probably more than thousands of prayers from all over the world in different countries, and I want to thank everybody who was praying for me. I really needed those prayers, and the Lord definitely did wonderful things. I can't talk straight, I'm sorry. The first surgery, was basically to remove skin, and then they removed that part of the skull, and they put in like a mapping sort of the brain. They also put in these wires that we connected to a machine, and it allowed them to turn a little button, and it would stimulate that piece. It would stimulate that piece of the brain, that part of the brain, I should say. And that was interesting. I had 2 out-of-body experiences, and at first we were like, well, maybe they're just fake, maybe it just feels like she's out of body. So the doctor asked me, what can you see? You know, what can you see below you? And I was able to tell him things that I wouldn't have been able to see lying flat down like I really was. I was able to see, like, what was on his, forget what you call those things. I have really bad loss of words since surgery, so I'm sorry. It was on his notebook. It was like a pen, and then he asked me, what can you see on the floor in front of you, stuff like that, and I was able to tell him. It was amazing. Like, I was looking at everybody from, like, ceiling down. I had to have plenty of seizures, so I had plenty. Like, they were telling me, you need to have plenty of them for us, and I had plenty, so it was interesting. And so after that test that was done, where they were stimulating parts of the brain to see what was happening in each one, they were literally, or actually during it, I should tell you, they were literally to stimulate this piece and make one of the seizures happen, like, especially the visual ones, like, right in front of me. So it was amazing, and they did that so they could tell, okay, this crap's happening here, we gotta remove that piece. And like I had mentioned, I was really only going, originally I was only going to get about 1/4 of the brain removed, and I got a little over 1/3. So my head's kind of slightly, not like, I was really scared it was going to sink in like big time as it was healing, but it didn't really sink in too much. But it's kind of sinked in, because we got a lot removed in there. But I had a wonderful, wonderful surgeon, Papa Nastachio. Lovely name, right? He was so awesome and so positive. He was just wonderful. I was so happy to have him for both surgeries. The second surgery was crazy because it was really supposed to be about 6-7 hours. Plus, possibly, they were like, it might be a little longer, but it's going to be an hour of us planning, like getting her ready and stuff. It ended up being 14 hours. And, second surgery was amazing, because that's when, the second surgery was where they were removing actual brain tissue. And they found that I had 2 veins coming up back here, like probably where, if I put it right here, or like, I guess right there, that would be in line, or where it is back there. So he had to stop, poor surgeon had to stop and replan the whole thing. But he did it that day, he replanned it, and I came out alive, but it took a very long time. Parents were crying. I've got pictures of it on the Facebook pages. I'll put all the links and stuff below. But you know what? I'm not lying. I actually got to see heaven. And during surgery, and I was wondering, I was like, was it a dream? Like, remembering it, part of me knew, but I lost emotion from the surgery for a little while. Everyone usually does. So I was just like, I didn't feel like, oh, that's real. And the surgeon was like, don't freak out. You may not have dreams for like the next week or so, because they actually had to take me so low. Like the surgery room is going to be such a temperature that's so low that, because it gets your body like so close to death, but you're not dead. I don't know how to explain it, because they have to calm the brain. So don't take this the wrong way. They're not trying to kill you or anything, but I'm saying they bring you low so that they don't hurt you while they're removing pieces of the brain. Because imagine if your brain was still thinking and they chunked a piece out, that would damage. So it was amazing, and I saw heaven. I saw my grandfather who died when I was so little. I think I was like 7. I still remember him, and I loved him so much. But I saw him. I'm about to cry because it was so beautiful. And I saw my tío, uncle, who passed away like 2 months before my surgery. It was so interesting that I saw them, and they looked so much younger. They looked so much younger and so healthy, because my grandfather passed away from cancer. And my uncle, or excuse me, I need to start over. I told you my brain screws up stories because I can't talk straight. Grandfather passed away basically from old age sickness. He was a vet, so he like veteran. So he had a lot of things going on. Much older though, he was very old. And my tío passed away from cancer. And he looked so sick when he had left, but in heaven, I mean, my grandfather looked younger. I almost didn't know who he was right away. My tío looked a little bit younger, but you can always tell his face because he always had the same face pretty much. And I knew who he was immediately, but so healthy. His color was back. It was such a beautiful place. It was such a beautiful place. I had to walk through. I remember it all too. I had to walk through like this tunnel, and it was frightening. But the Lord made himself, he made it clear to you, in this way that, come to me. You're going the right direction, you know what I mean? And I remember just saying, Jesus, Jesus. And when I got through, I saw my grandfather and my tío holding their arm out like this. Like come to me. And they all spoke in this music, these instruments. I can't even explain that. And I've heard it before. I would have these seizures in bed where I almost died. I never believed the doctor. I was like, I didn't almost die. It was just a dream. Because even some of the doctors would be like, maybe you almost, that was a very serious seizure, because it was like a really long tonic-clonic, and I would see the Lord's hand on my head, and he would say, "Be still." But he would speak in this music, and then I would go out, but I would wake up again. Like, that's a blessing to me. And I'd heard that before, so now I know it's like a real thing. But I saw the place and it was beautiful. I couldn't even speak, but it's not the kind of bad. Mom would always sing those Christian songs. I love Christian music. Like, don't make it sound bad. I don't want to make it sound bad, but I was always scared when they said that they couldn't speak, and I was like, I don't want to not be able to speak, but it was amazing. It was amazing. It was beautiful, and the Lord put his hand on my head, and he told me, well, first he showed me, let me start over. First he showed me my 2 children I'm going to have, and I didn't know what he was showing me right away. I could tell what it was. I saw these two children. The first one looked just like my fiance. And I thought, is he showing me my fiance when he's little or something? Because I just didn't know. It looked so much like him, though. And then showed me the next child, who looked so much like him, too, but a little bit more like me in different ways. And I didn't understand, and he told me it was my children. He told me to keep my mind on those things when I was hurting, and to keep my mind on him. And he told me I'm going to get through this, and he told me to do his work here, and help others, continue helping others. And he let me know that he took away my seizures. And I wish I could explain more. It was just so... There's some things that don't even have words for them because it was so beautiful. There's no words that could describe so much of it. But I was there, and when the Lord put his hands on my head like this,